Welcome to today's discussion from Bhagavad Gita as it is by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We have reached chapter 16 now. We are going to begin that today. The divine and demoniac natures. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. So chapter 16 is all about the divine and demoniac natures. So nature is actually our natural tendencies, how we are. Nurture and culture is the association which shapes our behavior. So we'll be discussing verses 1 to 5 today. Texts 1 and 3, or the verses 1 and 3, are given together in the Bhagavad Gita. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Danam Damascha Yagyascha Swadhyayastapa Archavam. Verse 2. Ahimsa Satyam Krodhastyagah Shantir Paishunam Daya Bhuteshvaloluptvam Mardvam Hir Rira Chapalam. Verse 2. Now verse 3. Tejah Kshama Dhriti Shocham Droho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata. So the translations of the verses 1 to 3 together is: the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady, determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. Verse 4. Dambho darpo bhimanascha krodho krodha parushyameva cha ajnanam chabhijatasya partha sampadamasurim. Verse 5. Daivi sampada vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata mashuchaha sampadam daivim abhijatosi pandava. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. So verses 1 to 9, they tell us about the divine and demonic qualities. We will try to cover up to verse 5 today. In verses 1 to 3, Bhagwan has given all the qualities of the divine men. Bhagwan has explained to us in the earlier chapter 15 that how the activities of all the living beings in this material world are all upside down, are topsy-turvy to that of the spiritual world. The analogy was given of the perverted or the upside down banyan tree. And in the 9th chapter also, Bhagwan explained the devas and asuras, the godly and the ungodly. So the mode of goodness is considered to be the auspicious one that prepares one for the path of liberation, and the activities done in mode of goodness are Daivi Prakriti. So in this chapter, Bhagwan is going to explain all the qualities of divine, godly qualities, and all the ungodly or the demoniac nature and its quality. So the nature and qualities of both divine and demon are going to be explained. So one is actually born with certain set of qualities. So that's why the Vedas, they ask for the Garbhadhana Samskara as well. So that the parents are prepared, and parents, they actually ask for a godly Atma to be coming to their life. So that's why in Krishna consciousness it is said that the sexual indulgence in life should be only for begetting a child and not just for your own sense gratification only. So the parents who are absorbed in Krishna consciousness themselves completely are surely going to invite a soul which is Krishna conscious into their life. And as we know, the Varnashram Dharma was divided into 4 Varnas, and this was done solely for the reason of keeping the society in an order. So everybody knew what were their duties and what was expected of them. The Grihastha Ashram supports both the Brahmacharya Ashram and the Sannyas Ashram. The Sannyas Ashram is responsible for keeping the moral conduct of the society properly, and advising them, and to do the yagyas and everything else. So there's a code of conduct for each varnashram as well, as we know, and the duties expected of them. The sannyasi is supposed to be fearless, and in the Jnana Yoga, in the knowledge as well. Next thing, which is meant for the Grihastha Ashram, they have to support, because they are the only ones who are earning money, so they have to support both the Brahmacharya Ashram and the Sannyas Ashram. That is done through the charity. That's why it is recommended that what we earn, part of that we should give to a temple to support the activities of the temple. But we should be careful, and we should see beforehand where that charity is going to go, because if it is used in wrong way, that reaction will be coming to us. And then it's Dhamma. Dhamma is self-control. It is meant for actually more for the householder life, the Brahmacharya, the Grihastha Ashram, than any other ashrams. And then sacrifice, yagya, which requires a lot of money, and in this Kali Yuga, none of us is that able that we'll be able to do big Agnihotra yagyas as was done in the previous yugas. So Sankirtan yagya is the best yagya for this yuga, and as we know, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The Sankirtan yagya given to us by Lord Chaitanya. And then there's Swadhyaya, self-reading, self-studying, which is more for the student life or the Brahmacharya life. They have to follow the celibacy and do the Swadhyaya. Austerity or the tapas is meant for the retired life, and so on. And the Vedas have given, the scriptures have given a certain path one has to follow in their life to be able to go through the life properly and eventually leave this world and not come back again. If you are in Krishna consciousness, if you are in the godly consciousness. So parents who are going to have children, it's a big responsibility on them as well. They should know not only they have to try to get out of this samsara, the soul which they are inviting, they are responsible for them as well, that they also are able to get out of the bondage of this samsara of, the birth, death, old age and disease. And ahimsa is that not stopping anyone's progressive life, that is not killing any life, that they are not able to continue their next journey. So obviously not killing of the animals or is ahimsa. And also ahimsa is also not to disturb anybody as well in the minds. Satyam is to say just the truthfulness, and the Shruti is to hear from the authorities who are the knowers of the scriptures properly. Akrodha is to check the anger when it's just going to begin, because anger is going to disturb everything else. And apassionam is that one shouldn't try to find any fault with anyone. I know these qualities are all easier read and said than done, but we have to try, because usually when we are finding fault in anyone, well, I've seen in myself as well, actually that fault is lying there within us somewhere. So we are very easily able to see that fault in the other person and broadcast it to everybody else. And unnecessary, we shouldn't try to correct others as well. Well, in Kali Yuga, this is I think one of the favorite hobbies of every person on this earth, that everybody thinks that they have got more knowledge than everybody else, so they have got the right to correct others and find the faults in others. And Prabhupada is telling us that to call a thief is not fault finding, so we have to understand that. And also achapalam is determination, that one should not be frustrated if first attempt is not successful. So we have to be determined in our goal, achieving our goals of this life. The ultimate goal is, of course, achieving the servitorship of Lord Krishna. So we should not give up if our first attempt or the second attempt or even the third, fourth is not successful. We should keep determined. And tejas is the word in the verse is meant for the kshatriyas, that they should always be strong to protect the weaker in the society. Shaucham is cleanliness. Shaucham is the cleanliness is not just of the body but of the mind and how you deal with others in society. So the cleanliness encompasses that. We should not be doing gambling and doing black market and earning through wrong means in the life. And Nati Banita is actually not expecting the honor, which applies to the Shudras. Actually, in this Kali Yuga, everyone is Shudra. Nobody is higher, which has been told in the Vedas. So we have to not to get over excited when we get some honor, and not to get dejected when we not get honor. And these are the 26 qualifications or the transcendental qualities which one should try to cultivate in their lives. These are given in verses 1 to 3 of 16th chapter. These are the divine qualities which can be developed by practice by everyone. Krishna says by all classes of men, and then it is gradually, slowly, it is possible to reach the highest platform of transcendental realization, that yes, we are the souls, and we have got Paramatma within us who is hearing us, and we are we have to practice to get out from this cycle of birth and death, coming and going into this world. Verse 4 is Krishna's telling Arjun, pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demonic nature, O son of Pritha. So one should not get dejected if they haven't got good qualities, the 26 good qualities told in the verses 1 to 3. One can always gradually cultivate them, practice them, and then grow them in their life. Verse 4 tells us about the qualities which belong to the ungodly or the demonic natured persons, which is pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness and ignorance. And these are actually road to hell, as Prabhupada says. If you want to advance in spiritual science, then you should steer away from these qualities. Once you know the disadvantage of having these qualities in one's life, you will be able to keep yourself away from them. And whenever you see one of these qualities creeping up in you, you'll be able to watch from distance and just tell yourself, use your intelligence that no, this is not going to advance me. It is actually going to take all the advancement which I have already done in the spiritual life. So if you want to stay in the spiritual path, don't try to get very angry or speak harshly, and not to be arrogant and not to be too proud, not to be full of conceit, full of what should I say, not to be of possessing any of the qualities which you don't like in others. That's the best way to put it. So whatever you don't like in others, don't cultivate, let them cultivate in yourself. And in verse 5, Krishna is saying to Arjun that the transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, you are born with the divine qualities. So it is a self-explanatory verse 5, that the transcendental qualities are going to help you in the liberation, in the path of spiritual life, and the demonic qualities are going to, or the asuri qualities are going to bind you with this world. And Krishna is saying to Arjun that, O son of Pandu, you are born with all the divine qualities. We should remember that actually Bhagavad Gita has been spoken on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Arjun has been encouraged to do his duty because he doesn't want to lift his weapons against his grandfather, his teacher, so Bhishma and Drona. So he's been told that he is not having any demonic qualities of harshness, of false prestige, or under anger. He's not going to lift his bow and arrow and aim at his grandfather and his teacher, but he's a Kshatriya. He's not going to be termed as demon by doing so, but he's a Kshatriya from birth. He's a military man. So it is shooting the enemy, killing the enemy is considered transcendental for a Kshatriya, but keeping away from his duty will be termed demoniac for Arjun. So there's no reason for Arjun to lament, and he's told that by following the regulative principles of different orders of life is a way when one stays in a transcendental situation or position. So chapter 16 is all about the divine and the demonic natures, and we have been reading the divine and demonic natures, qualities, till verse 5, and it will continue till verse 9 and then so on. So let us continue this next time. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.